Toxicology reports just revealed that Liam Payne had pink cocaine in his blood at the time of death, taking the case to a whole new level. But what is this pink cocaine, and how did it mess up Liam's head so much that he took his own life without even knowing? While conducting a toxicology test on the body of the late Liam Payne, Argentinian officials found quite a number of drugs in his system, including benzodiazepine and crack cocaine. However, what really caught everyone's attention was the strange substance known as pink cocaine, which Liam apparently ingested shortly before he died. Although it only became popular recently, pink cocaine has been gaining traction across America, especially among the rich and powerful Hollywood stars. Unlike these other drugs though, pink cocaine isn't one single substance. Instead, it's made from a combination of at least one stimulant drug and one depressant. In most cases, the cocktail contains ketamine, a dissociative anesthetic with several hallucinogenic effects, as well as other drugs like ecstasy, metamorphine, opioids, and even strong psychoactive substances such as bath salts. Alone, each of these substances poses great danger to the human body. Now, imagine combining them to make one deadly mixture. But despite being one of the strongest drugs on the dark market, what attracts most people to pink cocaine is the fact that it's usually very cheap. As in most cases, the combination rarely contains cocaine, so then why is it called pink cocaine if there's no cocaine in it? Well, the name actually comes from the fact that it's sold in powdered form. And as for the pink color, that's thanks to the food coloring that is also added to the mixture. It was a drug pioneer named Alexander Shulgin who first created this concoction in Colombia, where it was known as Tusi. Over the years, its influence has spread over the US, becoming one of the most widely distributed narcotics of 2024. During a national assessment of drug threats this year, the DEA announced that the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico was manufacturing and trafficking this dangerous drug into the US in mass quantities. And with the level of demand they've been getting, stopping the supply has been extremely difficult. Within the past few months, 2 high-profile arrests have been linked to pink cocaine possession. For example, when Sean Diddy Codes was arrested in September, officers found the concoction in his New York hotel room. That's not the only time that Diddy has been linked to pink cocaine though. According to the lawsuit filed by Rodney Jones Jr., Diddy always traveled with pink cocaine, and many of his employees were required to carry the drug along with them, as he would often use it to make his victims do whatever he wanted. It's not just Diddy though. Back in August, an Instagram influencer named Macy Marie Lathers killed 2 people in Miami after crashing her car into 2 other vehicles while high on pink cocaine. She's currently facing several charges, including 2 counts of DUI manslaughter. Then there's the case of Liam Payne, who also fell to his death after getting extremely high on the same drug. But while Liam's drug problem became widely known to the world after his death, this problem didn't start recently. Liam was just 16 when he became famous. The year was 2010, and the young singer found himself in a group with 4 other boys: Harry Styles, Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, and Niall Horan. No one could have predicted that these 4 British boys would become one of the most successful boy bands in history. By the time One Direction was created on July 23rd of 2010, all members of the band were between 16 to 18. But even though they were all equally talented, the boys had different personalities, which defined their role in the band. While Liam wasn't the eldest, he would become known as Daddy Direction, since he was always acting older than the others. He was known to be more sensible, mature, and more logical than the rest. It was Louis Tomlinson who gave him the nickname, but according to him, I like kind of just sitting down and chatting with Liam about more serious stuff. Like, if you're feeling a bit down, come and talk to Daddy Liam. As for the rest of the band, Zayn was designated as the mysterious one. Niall was boyish, Harry was the star with the solo appeal, while Louis also acted as the leader sometimes. Of course, the fight for the seat of leadership often led to a bitter feud between Louis and Liam, which sometimes led to serious issues within the band. Just like any band that gets catapulted into instant fame, One Direction also faced a unique set of challenges, and no one knew this better than Liam himself. A lot of the times, the boys would be locked in their hotel room for hours while on tour or whenever they were working on new music. It was during these lonely moments that Liam began to develop a relationship with alcohol. While speaking on the Diary of a CEO podcast, Liam talked about hosting a party for himself alone while locked in hotel rooms, drinking for hours just to deal with the loneliness and frustration.
Feels to me like when we were in the band, the best way to secure us because of how big it got was just lock us in our rooms. And of course, what's in the room? Minibar. So at a certain point, I thought, well, I'm going to have a party for one. And that just seemed to carry on throughout many years of my life. And then you look back, how long you've been drinking and stuff, where you're like, Jesus Christ, that's a long time. Even for someone who's, as young as I was.
What made this even worse was the fact that the boys rarely spent time with their families, so they couldn't receive the guidance that would prevent them from going astray. For example, a clip from the One Direction film, This Is US, shows Liam's mom, Karen, breaking down after seeing a cardboard cutout of her son, who she hadn't seen in a long time. In another clip from 2014, Lewis talked about Liam's alcohol addiction during their Brits Awards interview.
Massive congratulations. How you? Oh, you be
Steady
careful.
on.
Thank you.
How much have you had to drink?
That's the question for you, Liam.
Nah, it probably is.
Definitely is.
Later that same year, the band got in trouble with their fans after a picture surfaced online showing them smoking a joint.
One very, very important factor to Zayn's warm-up, of course, is Mary J.
Because this was the first time any of the band members would be linked to drugs, the backlash was massive, and it got so bad that Liam had to tender a public apology on the band's behalf, saying, "I love my boys, and maybe things have gotten a little sideways. I apologize for that. We're only in our 20s, we do stupid things at this age. We all have a lot of growing up to do in an extreme circumstance. I'm not making excuses, but it's the fact that we're gonna fall short somewhere." After Zayn left the group in 2015, One Direction began to crumble. Of course, they managed to release one more album with the 4 members left, but by December 2015, One Direction finally announced that they were going on an indefinite hiatus. They never came back. Since One Direction was all he'd known since he came into the spotlight, the breakup really affected Liam's mental health, and he would later admit that it nearly killed him. Even before the band was disbanded, Liam was really in a bad place. For example, in 2014, fans became really scared for his life after he posted a picture of himself standing on the ledge of his apartment building in East London. He would later apologize for the photo, although it's clear now that the thought of ending it had never left his head. To cope with the pressure of being in the public eye all the time, Liam had to rely on drugs, which he sometimes took in excess. However, everything became worse when he started his solo career. With the One Direction chapter over, Liam signed with Republic Records to release some new music on his own. And although he experienced early success with his first solo single, Strip That Down, his first album didn't exactly perform up to his expectations, although it didn't do bad as well. Critics and music journalists didn't exactly like the project, mostly giving it a 1-star rating, while complaining about its rowdy and catty lyrics. It was during this time that the drugs really started affecting his career, as he began to struggle with public appearances, often looking high and zoned out. This is also when he did the Diary of a CEO podcast, opening up about his struggles with alcohol and substance abuse. Then later, in June of 2022, he also appeared on an episode of the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul, where he appeared visibly intoxicated. He would then take a long absence from social media, before returning about a year later on July 8th of 2023, with a video titled, "I'm Back," where he revealed that he just spent 100 days in rehab and was now sober.
Take a little bit of time out for myself actually, because I kind of became somebody who I didn't really recognize anymore, and I'm sure you guys didn't either.
In the same year of 2023, Liam also made a post on Instagram, appreciating fellow band member Lewis Tomlinson for the part that he played in bringing him back on track. "I'm so thankful to have you in my life, mate. I feel so lucky, and I know you know this, but you were a part of a small group of people that literally saved my life. You dragged me out of something so dark that I've never shared it, but your approach is something I admire and aspire to, so I can one day do the same." While most of his fans believe he was finally coming out of the dark place for real, they ended up getting disappointed, especially after disturbing video surfaces showing Liam dancing and playing at Niel's concert in Argentina. People began to question whether he was really sober now or if he returned to his wild ways. Unfortunately, he never had the chance to try again, and would eventually fall to his death days later. While his death came as a shock to a lot of fans, could it be possible that he predicted this tragedy way before it actually happened? According to his ex-girlfriend Maya Henry, he actually saw it coming. You see, just a few days before Liam passed away, Maya filed a cease and desist against him, accusing him of repeatedly contacting her and her family even after they'd broken up in 2022. According to her, Liam would constantly send her messages saying, "Oh, I'm not well." He would also bring up his mental health issues in their conversations, informing her that he could possibly take his own life. However, when she tried to get him the help that he needed, Liam didn't take it. And when she stopped responding to his texts, Liam would text her mom saying, "I'm not doing well, have Maya contact me." But Maya believed that this was just some manipulative tactics he was using to keep her tied to him, and that he wasn't actually going to go ahead with it. Guess that didn't age well after all. Unfortunately, even though Liam tried to overcome his drug addiction, he was too far gone and would constantly relapse. Judging by the items the cops found in his hotel room and the drugs found in his system, it looks like he sadly lost the battle. Speaking Speaking of which, check out these other videos to learn more about Liam's final moments, and the disturbing discoveries investigators found hidden in his room. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.